Hello and welcome back to another video on my channel. Guess what? Algeria are going to Qatar. After all, it's just for a friendly game, but it's a game in Qatar, and I guess we can enjoy it and we can see Algeria face a nation that ultimately are going to go to the World Cup, because Algeria are taking on Iran just like we did 4 years ago when Rabah Madjer was in charge. And if you look at the lineup from that game against Iran 4 years ago, which we lost, it really is, it begs belief how A, how he got the job, and B, how certain media outlets in Algeria, which just talk nonsense, said it was a good team. And there were, when it was players like Shaoxi in goal. Shaoxi's amazing from the 2010 era, not in 2018. Likes of Bouhan Chouch was playing in the middle. Sofiane Hami was playing in the defensive midfield role. We had Majani in there, who was ageing. Sudani, Bounedjah played that game. Morez played that game. Ben Morsa came on quite early. It was just Zerdine Farhat was playing right back and all sorts of nonsense anyway. We've gone from Bouhan Chouch to Benassa, which is good. And hopefully we're going to beat Iran this time. But I think Iran are actually better than they were at that time. So let's talk about Iran first. And a lot of these players actually did play that game 4 years ago. They're just now at better clubs and more recognised. For example, Taremi scored against us in that game. He's not quite the Porto world beater back then, but now he's been very good, Mehdi Taremi. For Iran, they've got Jahanbakhsh, who's been in the Premier League. They've got Azmoun, who I think really should be at a better club than the one he's at the moment. They have got good players, you know, Salahi, remember Ibrahimi. The thing is, right, that World Cup last time, of course, it was Carlos Queiroz, who in Africa we know all about now. A very talented manager. Iran were put in the group with Morocco, Spain and Portugal. Now, 9 people out of 10 would be like, you know, Iran are going to get no points. They got 4 points in that group. They beat Morocco, first of all, and people say, oh, it was an own goal. I think it was, who is it who scored it? Haddouz or whatever. It was an own goal. Well, first of all, you have to defend for about 90 minutes to keep it at 0-0. Second of all, they got a free kick in a dangerous area. And the lad had to do that, or something could have happened. And ultimately, he was in the no man's land, in the danger zone, and he had to put it in his own net, because if he didn't and Iran scored, he would have been blamed. But Iran beat Morocco, and Morocco was saying that they'd beaten Iran before a ball was kicked, and then they ended up being the first team eliminated from Russia 2018. Then Iran played the Portuguese and the Spanish. Of course, the Portuguese game, it was a close run thing, and obviously Carlos Queiroz had a great knowledge of Portugal, having been Portuguese. And the Spain game, they narrowly lost, and people will talk about the guy for Iran who did a somersault when he took the throw-in, but I'm talking about their defensive solidarity. Now, that defensive solidarity has got quality up front to balance it out with. You've got Taremi, who will take chances with Jahanbakhsh and Azmoun, and that as a front three will cause a lot of teams problem. And I think when you look at the group Iran have with England, with Wales and America, you'd be a fool to not say Iran have a chance of getting out of that. Of course, England will be favourites to win the group. I think second in England's group, right, America, Wales and Iran, I think any of those three could take it and it wouldn't be a shock. I think the games between in that group against the teams that aren't England, so like when America play Iran and when Wales play Iran and when Wales play America, are going to be intense. This is one of the massivest opportunities for one of those three teams to make a last 16. Iran, of course, want to do one better than they did in Russia. Wales haven't been in the World Cup for 60 years. And of course America had the Tim Howard heroics when they were last in the knockout stages. So one of those teams could do it. Iran had a bit of a disruptive schedule, you know, a bit like us trying to get friendlies done. Will they happen, won't they happen? You know, cancellations. They tried to play Uruguay as well. They always do breathe through qualifying with respect because of the quality of some of the other teams in the Asian region of football. And of course Qatar is not a million miles away from Iran either. Now, Algeria are going to be pitted up against a team who are going to the World Cup, and if this was a group stage game at the World Cup, Algerian fans would feel like they should beat Iran. You look at them against South Korea, for example, at the Brazil, they put 4 goals past them. So if Algeria had Iran in the World Cup group stage, we'd be expected to beat them. However, if we go out and lose to them, then it kind of, for me, feels like you've lost to Iran in Qatar, would we have beaten Serbia, Switzerland, Brazil in the same stadiums? That's how we're going to have to look at this game. If we go out and beat Iran 2-3-0, losing to Cameroon is going to feel even worse, because like, not only have we been, you know, we feel like we've been cheated out of this tournament in the Middle East, in the backyard, we would have actually gone there and done something, whereas Cameroon will just go there and do nothing, essentially. So, anyway, in terms of Algeria's team, a lot of players, I think, are going to be starting this game. I think Slimani and Bulhi and Mandy will be given the rest. There's no point playing Slimani in a game like this. No point playing Rice and Bulhi in a game like this. Now, not only am I going to name the team I'd play, I think this team could very likely start the game as well. First of all, 6 substitutes can happen in the friendly. There'll be a few debuts. We don't have many chances now to try players out. This presents the perfect opportunity to do that. In goal would be Anthony Mandrea, and it would mean Belmadi used 3 keepers in 3 different games in 1 international break, which I think would be fantastic. Left back, you've got no reason to not start Yanis Hamash for the debut. Same goes for the right back, Akim Zadudka, in that position over Ben Yedder. You don't need to play Ben Yedder against the right. If you're going to the World Cup and you're planning your team for playing Serbia, then yes, you play your best team now. We're not playing warm-up games. Iran are playing warm-up games. Iran will pick their best 11. We won't. Tugay and Tuba are the 2 young centre-backs. And I do that in a back 4. No back 5, please. Banassa's a rookie. That's good. Badawi, if fit, would be in there. I think Kadri deserves a debut as well. And then on the left, don't need to play Belaley. You don't need to. Bilal Brahimi can come in. Adam Munoz can come in on the right. And Amora deserves a start. We've been banging on the door for Amora to start this game. And he scored against Tanzania. Give him a full 90 minutes. Last time he played a full 90 in a shirt for Algeria, I think he scored 4 goals against Liberia for Bulgaria's team. So, in terms of the logistics of this game, it's been very hazy by the FA, so I'll give you the details. So Sunday, the 12th of June in Qatar, this game will happen between Algeria and Iran. It will be kicking off at, I believe, 7 Algerian time. And it will be played in the stadium of Qatar SC, Qatar Sports Club. Their ground will be hosting this game. Supporters will be allowed to attend. However, 40-degree heat. This stadium doesn't have air conditioning in it, which is a big thing about this World Cup, about the air conditioning being used. Well, ultimately, the World Cup's in November because of the heat. So, you know, if people are going to sit there for 2 hours in that heat, good luck to watch Algeria play Iran. But we know there's a lot of Algerians living in the Middle East, and they will go along to that game most probably. Probably won't be sold out, but it's a big game for Iran because they haven't had that big chances to test their team ahead of the World Cup, and they've got massive opportunity. Don't expect Iran to beat us in terms of England, when I say us, but I think against America they can do something, but America is a good America. I think Morocco are poor against them. I'd almost certainly think Iran could beat Wales. If Gareth Bale does nothing, I think they'll beat Wales. So let's see what happens. Should be on the Al-Qas channel in Qatar, and we'll see how Algeria do. Obviously, if we finish this international break with a loss, it'd be quite a downer because it's been very, very good what we've had in the 2 games so far without the likes of Benrahma, Delort and Mahrez. And be nice to cap this off with a win and big statement to the world really, and said, look, we could have done this. This could have been us, and it just wasn't meant to be. So what are your score predictions of Algeria, Iran? I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. And I think that would please all parties, to be honest. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Subscribe for more, and I'll see you next time.